Hi fellow flowers, Violet here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this adorable candy cane lanyard ornament. Let's jump right in and have a look at some materials you'll be needing. We'll need some 16 gauge copper wire, as well as 2 colors of string. For this I'm using Mandala Crafts faux leather string, so it's vegan leather or microfiber suede, and I have the red and the white. And the first step is to cut yourself a piece of the wire. This one is about 6 inches in length, and for the rest of the lengths please check the description box. Now I've measured out 2 pieces of the red and white, so 1 each, and now I'm grabbing both of their ends so that I have all 4 ends in my hands, and I'll pass them all into my right hand and just keep kind of pulling until I can find the midpoint of both strings. And this is where I want to actually begin working. So I'm going to let go of all of those ends and hold on to the middle part of both of those strings. And then I'll make an X over my finger like so. So I have my white string on bottom and my red is going across on top. And now I'll place my thumb down and form 2 loops with my white string. So for the white string that was on top, I'm bringing that down over my thumb and holding it with my ring finger. And then for this white string here that was on bottom, I'm just going to fold that up top, and I'm using my middle finger to hold that one in place. So keeping my thumb there, next I'll grab this red string that's on the right hand side, and first I will cross over the white string that's on the right, and then we'll go underneath the loop that's over here on the left. And then I'll pull this guy through until it's just barely there. And then I'll reach through my fingers here to grab the other side of the red. And we'll do the same, crossing over the white and under the other white. But now this time we're going the opposite direction. So just like so to create the box stitch. And now I can go ahead and pull this tight. Now, when working with faux leather or suede, the strings do snap a little bit more easily than they would with the plastic string, and that's just because there's a little bit more friction holding the strings together. So if you pull on them too hard, they can snap. So just a word of advice to be a little more cautious when you're pulling your strings tight if you choose to work with faux leather. Next, what I'm doing is I'm just evening out both sides of the strings, because when I measured out and grabbed the two white strings together, I noticed that one was a little bit longer than the other. So I'm just going to adjust those until they are mostly even. So that is a lot better. So I'm going to now do the red. So grab both of the red, pulling until I find both of the ends, and that's actually pretty good. So I don't need to do anything there to fix that. So now I'm ready to actually begin weaving some circle stitches. Now to do this circle stitch, I have a complete tutorial on the circle stitch, which I'll link down below. But essentially we're going to, instead of going like straight down like this with the box stitch, I'm actually going to bring the white string across the face diagonally in between the red and the white strand here. And then for this white string that's over on the bottom, I'll bring this one up in between the other white and the other red. And using my thumb to hold everything in place, now I can go ahead and weave those side strings, starting with the red strand that is on the right. I'll find the end of that, and I just noticed this Yu-Gi-Oh card here. Sorry, let me move that out of the way. So I'm going to go over that first white and underneath the second, pull that mostly all the way through, and then I'll grab this other red string, which is over here in between my hands, find that end, and we'll do the same, crossing it over this time crossing it over the left white string and going underneath the right white string. So going right under here, and you can see I'm not crossing through the other red at all, just going through that white loop. And we'll pull this through, and now we can pull our strings tight. And remember, if you're working with the faux leather, to pull it gently. Now before I add in the wire, I want to add at least 3 stitches, possibly 4 stitches, so that I have enough of a base to pierce that wire through. Now you can use Rex lace for this, however, that step is not quite as easy and like cut and dry. You kind of have to hold the wire in there in place a little bit longer, and it takes a little bit more effort than if you were to just use the vegan leather. So definitely up to you which material you want to use, but for me, I prefer to use the vegan leather. Plus, for something that's going on the Christmas tree, I think it gives it a little bit more of like a rustic look. Okay, so I'm just going to fast forward through doing the 4th stitch, but once we were ready, you should have something that looks like this. And now we are ready to add the copper wire in. So you can see in the center of my lanyard, there's a little bit of like a space or an opening where the strings kind of resist themselves. And that is where I'm going to be poking the wire into. And it should stay relatively stable if you're using the vegan leather. Like I said, if you're using Rex lace, this step might take a little bit more effort. Like you'll have to hold the copper in place, but it should still work. Now I'm going to weave my box stitches just the same, but this time I need to be weaving around that copper wire. So I made my 2 loops going on either side of the wire, and then now I'm weaving these red side strings. And for the red side strings, just the same, we are going around that wire, so they should be crossing on different sides of the wire. If you cross some strings over the same side of it, then it's going to, like, the wire is going to stick out and it's going to look kind of silly. So you see that when I've made my box stitch, that wire is crossing down the center of it. And now I can pull it tight, pull all of the strings tightly around the wire, like so. And if you have a look, you see that that wire is in the middle. Now I'll zoom in here for another stitch so you can get an idea of what we're doing here. I'm still starting by bringing that white strand down in between the red and the white, and the other white string up in between the other white and the red, and then weaving this red string over and under. Then I will grab the other red string, which is over here in between my fingers, and this one will also go over and under, but in the opposite direction. So going over this first white strand here, and crossing underneath this white strand over here. And we'll pull this through. And we'll just even it out so we don't have any twists or kinks in it. And then we can tighten it around the wire. And it's as simple as that. So we are doing a circle stitch just around the wire now. And I'll show you what it looks like in a couple more stitches. After a while, you should have something that looks like this, and the lanyard is beginning to take its form around that wire. And you'll just continue until you are nearly all out of string, and then you can trim off the strings and have something that looks like this. For vegan leather, it pretty much holds itself, so you don't have to do much to finish it. If you'd like, you can add some super glue on the end. But to finish our candy cane here, what we are going to do is just now shape and form that wire so that it is in the shape of a candy cane, like so. And voila, we are all done with our candy cane. So if you'd like, you can make several of these and use them as ornaments on your tree like I have done here. But there you have it. That is how you make a candy cane. Thank you so much for watching. Keep blooming, and I'll see you in the next one.